Hi, I'm Michael from Kitchensider and welcome to the channel. In this video I'm going to be going over some of my top kitchen design tips. So these are things that my clients have asked a lot about in the past, or things that I consider to be important when designing a kitchen. So let's get into it. So the first tip is to take your time. So with any DIY project, renovation project, things usually take longer than you think they're going to, and this is especially true with kitchens. So the design process itself can take weeks, and often I think it should, because it gives you time to explore what you really want and change your mind, look at different options, maybe shop around a little bit. So really kind of taking your time with the whole process is really crucial. And then also when it comes to ordering, if you're ordering off the shelf kind of pre-made stuff, that may be in stock and great, but a lot of things are made to order, and anything bespoke especially will take longer. So the cabinets themselves, for instance, could take anywhere from sort of 2 to 10 weeks to order, so you need to factor in this time as well. With such a large and important purchase, give yourself time so you don't feel panicked or rushed into making a mistake or overlooking those small details, because believe me, those small details will matter. And if your new kitchen is part of a larger refurbishment or an extension, then I'd suggest starting that kitchen design as soon as you have the plans drawn up and as soon as you know the dimensions of the room and the space. The next consideration is your budget. Now, there's no right or wrong budget, but knowing your budget can dictate the type of kitchen you can have and achieve, and it can also help avoid some heartache. There are many brands out there that cater to every kitchen budget, and when we talk about the kitchen budget, I like to break it down into 4 sections, and that is your cabinets, your worktops, your appliances, and the installation of the kitchen itself. So not extra building work if any of that's happening, purely the installation of the kitchen. So it's important to come up with an overall budget and allocate them to these 4 sections to which you think are most important. So it could be that you're really into your cooking and your tech and appliances, and you'd rather spend that little bit more money to get the latest appliances, things with Wi-Fi connectivity or whatever it is, things like that. And you're not as fussed with the cabinets, for instance. Or it could be the other way around. You really want those solid timber cabinets, hand painted, that look, and you're not as fussed with the latest and greatest appliances, and you're happy with some more cost-effective things. Whatever it is, and kind of however you divide that budget, it is important to have that overall budget and then kind of allocate it between these 4 sections as you see fit. The next tip is to think about the layout and the overall function of your kitchen. And in my opinion, this is the most important thing to consider when designing a kitchen, or any space for that matter. How you interact with the space on a day-to-day basis is huge. So you want it to work seamlessly and logically. You don't want to be walking from one end of the kitchen to the other end of the kitchen, just to make a cup of tea. I'm sure you've all heard of the working triangle, and that's a great kitchen design fundamental. But I like to divide the kitchen more into zones. So I still think about the working triangle. I think that's very important, and the flow of the kitchen. But I think there's more to a kitchen than just those kind of main 3 points of a working triangle. So I like to think about it in zones. So whether that's a cooking zone, a prep zone, your kind of washing up wet zones, or your tea and coffee making zone, the most important zone. Think about kind of the movement around the space, and within these zones, what you need. Do you have those cabinets that hold those particular things? Do you have the appliances to hand? Do you have that clear worktop space in a specific location? Consider these zones and how you use the kitchen and plan accordingly. A poor layout will drive you mad. So take some time, first point, and get this layout right. My next tip is to consider storage. So increased storage is probably one of the most popular reasons I hear from my clients as to why they want a new kitchen. And let's be honest, we can never have enough storage. And when it comes to storage, I like to break it down into 2 types. Now that's physical storage and practical storage. So physical storage is more storage, bigger cabinets, things like that, more physical storage space in the room. And practical storage is things like storage solutions. Corner storage solutions is a good example, but it's also the right kind of cabinets. So that could be drawers rather than cabinets. That's a more practical storage solution for many people. So having a combination of more physical storage and more practical storage is best. That's best of both worlds. But if you can't do that, so if you've got a small kitchen, it might be that you have to focus more on practical storage and maximizing the space that you do have. So as I said, drawers is a great example. Drawers can be really useful. You're pulling everything out to you. You're not opening the cupboard and rummaging around. On a day-to-day basis, that's far more practical for many people. Or if you've got the extra space, you can think about larger cabinets. So wall cabinets could be a great example. Many kitchen suppliers have different sizes available as standard, so rather than going for sort of the medium wall height cabinet, you could go for the taller version if you've got the extra ceiling height. That could be a great way to gain some extra storage and fill the room. It also helps to draw the eye up and make the room feel bigger as well. So think about the physical and practical storage. The next tip is to consider your countertop space. Now this sort of comes back to my other point about layout and zones, as I was talking about before, but consider this scenario. So you've finished your kitchen, it's your dream kitchen, everything's brilliant, and you're moving everything back into the kitchen, filling up your cupboards, and then you put your toaster on the countertop, plug that in, then you've got your microwave over there, one that lives on the countertop, maybe you've got your coffee machine that lives over there, the radio's back, you want to charge your phone over here, you've got your blender over there, everything's going back. And then you suddenly realise all this stuff has just filled up your countertop and you don't actually have anywhere to do any prep space, any open countertop to work on. So consider these things. Think about what appliances, small appliances, are going to live on your countertop and plan those in early. Like think about the space they're going to take up. There's nothing worse than filling all that space up and then realising you've got no room to do any tasks. So thinking about those small appliances and what you need and what you use early on will help mean that you've got those clear countertop spaces in those zones. So it could be that rather than having a microwave on the countertop, you decide to have one up in a wall cupboard or in a tower unit, combination microwave oven, something like that. It could be that the toaster and your mixer you can hide in a pantry and just pull them out when you need to keep a clear countertop space. But have a think about what appliances you use, what appliances you need in your new kitchen, where they're going to live, big or small, so it means that everything isn't cluttered and crowded when you do move everything back into the kitchen. The next tip or thing to consider is your bins. Now I know it's not the most glamorous topic, but it is something that we use every day, multiple times a day, which does mean that they're an important consideration. So I've been to houses where they've had a lovely modern handleless kitchen, clean lines, lovely clean worktop, and big space, and then there's just a plastic bin plonked on the end, and it just shatters the illusion, just ruins the look. And it's because they didn't think about these things earlier on in the process, and then they've come to it and gone, oh, we need a bin, we'll just shove it there on the end. So think about your bin as part of the design process. And I'm not saying it has to be an integrated bin, although they are great, I think, and can work really well. For some people, they're not big enough. If it's a big family, they might want bigger bins. And it could be putting them on the end of a run, but think about that at the beginning. Is it going to be just in the middle of the room, or can you position it so it's a little bit more subtle, kind of hidden, tucked away a bit somewhere? It's not just smack bang in your face as you walk into the room, because it does ruin the look of a kitchen, just having those bins there. So think about your bins. I know it's not glamorous, but think about how and where you're going to put your bins in your kitchen. And my last tip is to consider power. So this is sockets and power points in your kitchen. And like storage in your kitchen, I believe you can never have enough power points. If during the building work your electrician asks you how many sockets do you want along this wall, do you want an extra one there? The answer is yes. Yes, you want that extra one there. There's nothing worse than when everything's done and finished and you go to plug all these things back in, you've got your radio, your phone charger, the mixer, the toaster, all these things, and you don't have enough sockets. And you have to either unplug and plug something in every time you want to switch, or you've got to end up with an adapter or multi-gang thing. It ruins the look of the kitchen for the sake of just an extra socket. If you thought about it earlier on, you can't have enough sockets, in my opinion. And that's also true when it comes to the kitchen island. I spoke about this in my last video about kitchen islands, and I'll leave a link up somewhere about that. But make sure you've got power on your kitchen island. So not just for the appliances, if you have, say, a hob or a dishwasher or whatever it is on the island. I'm talking about sockets for small appliances. So whether that's a pop-up socket, sockets on the ends that are cut into the end panels, make sure you've got power on your island as well as enough power around the kitchen. You won't regret it. So there you have it, some of my top tips and things to consider when designing a kitchen. I hope this has helped to get you thinking about the things to consider when you're designing your new kitchen. And if you'd like to learn more about anything and everything kitchen design related, then head over to my website kitchensider.com, where I talk about all of this stuff. Please do me a favor, if you found the video helpful, give it a like and consider subscribing. That really helps. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.